Oh, make me over.
4 days from now, nobody will stop me from being the one that'll throw this break and gas you out of this life for good, you son of a bitch!
Get away from her, you bitch!
Another half hour.
Captain, one of the aliens has just entered the bridge. Understood.
We're less than 1 million kilometers from the pulsars. We must go.
Hello and welcome to the first edition of Women of Nerd Culture, hosted by the nerdiest ladies that the north of England has to offer. I'm Becca, one of your hosts, and I'm proudly joined by the First Lady of Nerdy Up North and Mistress of Horror herself, Sammie, and by Sarah, the only nerd I know who could create her very own cult within 24 hours with her cakes. Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
That's so true.
It is so true. After, was it Nerdfest, where I think 5 people at least propositioned you for marriage?
Oh, that was just this year.
Oh yeah, the first
There was
year.
last year as well with the Nerdy Up North cupcakes.
Yeah. I nearly stole them. They were nearly coming home with me. And Paul was like, no, you've got to share them. And I was like, what? Why? They don't deserve them.
Yes, but this is the very first episode of Women of Nerd Culture, and we are very excited to be here and to share our experiences and discuss everything that nerd culture has to offer the women. But yes, so tonight's episode is a little bit different from what we're planning in the future. It's all about our experiences and our journeys via nerddom. So I don't know, Sammie, would you like to say the disclaimer first?
I would love to. So, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on the Facebook page, the Discord, or the comment section, where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and I think that's a very important part of this. This is not going to be us bashing anyone. This is going to be us expressing our opinions, and we are very much allowed to do that. So, who would like to go first in sharing our journeys of people who inspire us?
Let Sarah go first. We'll let the little cutie with the ears go first. Look at her.
Inspired by our new friend Katie.
Yes.
Oh, Sarah. Come on.
Well, I have done an official introduction to myself on the main Nerdy Up North page as well, but I mainly nerd out over things like music. I bake. Certain TV shows I go mad over, like Supernatural, The X-Files, Dexter. So it's things like that where I'm going to take my inspirations. And to be honest, the first one I'm going for, if anybody's seen me in the Facebook group or on Discord, it's going to be pretty damn obvious when I say Gillian Anderson.
No.
It's
Stunned.
Yeah, specifically Scully, of course. I mean, how can you deny the effect that Scully has had on women of nerd culture in general? You know, it's where it all started for me, I think. Venturing out into nerdisms. What was it, 1994 when the X-Files first came out, and I watched it from the start. I mean, how can you not admire the character? She's female, she's ginger.
She ticks all your boxes, really, doesn't she?
Yeah,
Very
she's
much.
highly intelligent. You know, she's a doctor, a scientist, and the skeptic. And she can stand her ground against Mulder from the very first point.
That must be such a thing for a young girl, impressionable young girl, to be very influenced by, like you said, a doctor, a scientist. That's quite big. That's huge.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, the figures came out as well. Like, I think the last time they looked at this was 2016, I think I read. I haven't got that fact wrote down, but they were looking at, STEM entry for women and stuff like that, and there was very high percentages of women who aspired to be like Scully, who looked up to Scully, who were inspired by her, and it's called the Scully effect. There was an increase of women entering sciences after she started appearing on the X-Files.
That's amazing.
I love that.
I mean, this is who I had posters of in my room. Like, obviously, Mulder was on them as well, but
just he was there.
he was there.
I do remember having because for Easter we used to get a book for educational purposes and an egg, and my book was an X-Files book, and it was like an encyclopedia of the first two series and had all these like facts and hence the reason why I do love a factoid. All these facts and information and that, and this was my Bible. Like, I carried this everywhere with us, but I was never influenced by her.
No.
And I'll explain why later, but it was more to do with the monster side of it, which explains so much.
It explains a lot for you, Sammie.
It does. But yeah, the monster side of it was more interesting to me than the actual person who was fighting said monsters.
Yeah. See, on the other hand, I absolutely love Dana as a character. I can remember watching X-Files when it first came out, and she was the character I related to more than any of the other ones. Though Mulder was an amazing character, it was Dana, and the fact that as a child in the 90s, we didn't really have that many characters in STEM positions, and the fact that she was carrying a gun, she was there as Mulder's babysitter. She was there to make sure that he kept out of trouble. Normally it's the woman who's getting into trouble, though later on, spoilers, that does happen, but it's done in such a way that it doesn't take anything away from that character. And I really did enjoy watching the episodes, and there are many episodes of X-Files that still stick with me 30 years later. I'm not going to lie. There are China dolls. I do not do China dolls.
No. Who does? I mean,
I could still quote a lot of the Tombs episodes to you right now.
Oh,
it was one of my favorite episodes. Because when the X-Files first came out on VHS, they actually didn't just do the seasons. They actually did what they called file 1 through to, like, I think it was 13 or 14. And what it was the multi-part episodes. So, like, for example, Tombs was like a 2-parter. I believe the one around Dwayne Barry and Scully's abduction was a 3-parter, and they were just put together on one video as like file 2 and file 3.
Okay.
So I had all of those first before I had the seasons, but then I had watched the seasons when they came out on TV. And I had a very similar book to you, Sam. I think mine was the unofficial guide to season 1 of the X-Files.
I don't dare say it was official. It was definitely something. I can picture the front cover like it was like it's in front of us. It's them two with the X in the middle, and it's red and it's brown, and it's like a leathery type of like lookbook, but it wasn't. It was hardback. I remember that so well. Like, it honestly clung to us, and I was like, if anyone wants to start a conversation with us, hold on, let me get an interesting fact about this episode for you. It is one of my mum's favorite shows. It's something that she has a frequency of going back and watching things, and X-Files is definitely one of them. I think it had a lot to do with that.
I think she can be held up as a good role model anyway as well, not just because she was intelligent, but because she didn't have to be scantily clad as well. She was wearing her full suits. She was in a position of respect. Mulder appreciated her opinions. I think
even if he didn't agree with them.
Even if he didn't agree with them, he appreciated the fact that she was coming from a scientific point.
You need that.
And he didn't just brush her to one side when she questioned what was like what he was saying or what was happening.
It was
I
such a
think
good balance.
Yeah, I think the character's legacy really comes under the principle of if you can see it, you can be it.
That's powerful.
She's just a great role model.
I think we just found the tagline for this episode right there in the
If you
first
can see
few
it, you can be
minutes.
it.
That's better than Rocky Horror, that.
And that's saying something.
I know, I really like that.
Not a lot can go for that.
No.
I like that. You need the balance, though, between them two, because you can't just have the crazy, because then it's just crazy, and it's everything that could be explained is always going to be unexplained, and it gets a bit messy. So you need her to come in, and it's great that it's a female who does it, because if it's another male, I don't know if that dynamic would have worked. I feel like you needed someone with a bit of something to prove behind it.
Yeah.
I
Gillian
remember...
actually lied about her age to get the part as well.
Dirty Gillian.
She was 24 when she got the part, but she told them she was 27 because she didn't believe that you could, like anybody, not just a woman, but anybody could be a doctor, a scientist in so many fields by the age of 24.
Oh, bless her.
So she gave herself a few extra years to become one of those things.
But they have 30-year-olds playing 16-year-olds, and it's believable. Hey.
Normally it's the other way around.
Isn't it? I like that as your first influence. So was she like your first big one? Is that where it started from?
Looking at it, I was just approaching my teenage years when the X-Files started. I was like maybe 11 at the time. And to be honest, I hadn't even seen many ginger people on TV at that point.
Oh, you felt represented.
So I felt represented. Secondary school was hard being naturally ginger with some of the names that people used to throw about. I wasn't that bothered myself. But
I just remember the dickheads, and you're not.
But it was good to see somebody like who had my hair colour be in a position of power. So that immediately, it was her hair colour that immediately made her stand out to me, and then everything else fell into place afterwards.
Oh, I love that. See, I don't have that. My experience into looking at females as a heroine or like something I would look up to didn't happen until very much later in life for me. I am a tomboy through and through. My heroes were Pete Venkman and Optimus Prime. Yeah. Or Luke Skywalker. Never Princess Leia. Would never even... Don't do girly figures. My experience is completely different. Probably wasn't until I started reading comic books that I finally understood it.
I mean, to be fair, the rest of the people that I've named, that I'm going to name during this episode, came later into my life. Because, as you were saying, to be honest, when we were like 10, 11, there wasn't a lot of females to take the lead.
Not at all.
No.
So I think that's why I latched onto Scully so much.
I get that.
Understandable.
Yeah, I get that. There's a lot of they were there. They just weren't as prominent as what Scully was.
Yeah.
I get that. Are we jumping around or we're just sticking with one person?
We could jump around.
Go on, Becca. Go and say something.
Come on.
Go on then. I'll start with mine, which is very much in the same sort of time frame, and it's probably going to come as no surprise to anyone that it's a character from Star Trek. And
it's just shocking all around.
We're just shocking everyone tonight. And my character is Deanna Troi. And that's probably going to surprise people because people probably expect for me to go for the original series and Uhura, but I haven't actually seen many episodes with her. My first intro into Star Trek was The Next Generation. And Deanna Troi as a character from a very, very young age struck me as empathic, compassionate. You know, she was the type of woman as a child I wanted to be. And the fact that her mother was an absolute amazing character. Alexandra Troy she's just absolutely amazing. The character was just always there. She always had the other characters' backs, whether it was she was, you know, being friends with Dr. Crusher, with those awful 90s trying to be futuristic outfits, whether it was she was being friends to Picard, you know, giving him very solid advice. And I found this character was very much unlike anything that I'd seen on television. And yes, there are some very controversial things about the character now when you look back, but I don't feel like that very much takes away what my first impression was. And the character in every season of Star Trek has offered me something else. She's offered me something new. And, you know, Maria Stratus, I think I've pronounced that right. She's just an amazing actress who has just played this half human, half betazoid character for 40 years now in different incarnations. And she's just brilliant. You know, it was nice to see in Star Trek someone who could take command of the bridge, and she wasn't doing it forcefully. She was doing it just through being a professional. Once, obviously, she was given a uniform. After season 4, I think it was, she was seen as something other than boobs on the bridge. I'll put it there. She was literally, before that, boobs on the bridge. And I think the fact that we see her in the movies, you know, she takes charge of the ship. She safely crash lands the ship with no casualties. And I just think for a 90s character, we didn't get to see that often. And yeah, so that was my first ever nerdy character, other than Scully, that I really enjoyed watching on Star Trek.
I love that. I know who that is too. People might think I am a void of Star Trek knowledge, but I was actually dragged up on Trek. I will trade with you if you like. You can take, you know, the original, and I'll take Next Generation, because my mother made me watch that all the time. Hence why I've never continued watching it later on in life.
I've actually seen more episodes of the animated series than I've seen of the original one.
Keep it that way. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Thing, but yes. I'm still working on my Trek marathon.
Yes, because you're on DS9 now, aren't you?
No. I've finished all of them. I've even watched Prodigy and Strange New Worlds and everything like that. I've even watched the animated series. I've got basically the original series and Discovery to watch, and a couple of movies that I haven't seen.
I watched one episode of Next Generation and just went, no.
Very much it's a project of its time. But the character of Deanna Troi just feels like it grows with every season that she's on. And we don't get to see that often in Trek. Which is nice.
I actually do own Trek merchandise, believe it or not. I was meant to give this to my mother years ago and I never did. I have a little furry thing.
Got a tribble.
I don't know what
a tribble.
Yeah,
tribble, yeah, I have a tribble. Yeah, I do. See, I do pay attention.
I'm impressed. I don't have anything like that.
Thank you. And this is coming from the woman who owns a lot of Jar Jar Binks stuff.
Yes.
I have a tribble.
Sorry, I do apologise if you can hear a baby crying.
That's fine.
Absolutely fine.
Now, the audience listening, I am not just leaving a baby to cry. My partner is in the other room with them. No,
she's not. Hey, if they get to see kitty cats running around on YouTube, I'm sure they'll handle a baby crying on audio. It's totally fine. Totally fine. I do love that you've picked Deanna Troi as your first one. I had a funny feeling that Star Trek would be there somewhere. Yeah. I just wasn't sure where you were going to go with it.
I didn't think it would be Deanna.
Yes, that's what surprises a lot of people when I mention her, because of the fact she started as Boobs on the Bridge. Yeah. But she's a character that...
I love that term.
Title of your sex tape, Boobs on the Bridge.
Boobs on Bridge.
I think there's probably many films sort of called that around.
Yeah.
It's more the fact that this character, I think, actually inspired my job. I'm not going to obviously say what my job is, but it inspired my job as the fact that she works in counselling. We didn't see many characters like that in the 90s that were counsellors, in that type of style, of that type of talking therapies. It was very much like, oh, medicate this, we see them in asylums, things like that. It was never this type of therapy and counselling, and the character just struck a chord with me, and she hasn't kind of got away in the last 30 years.
Well, the pennies just dropped. Becca in real life is one of the sweetest human beings you will ever meet. She is so thoughtful, so caring, so considerate of others. That we had one time when we were out and about, and this kid fell over, and it was right near a bus, and Becca instantly just jumps into mammy mode and goes and rescues this child while the rest of us childless people are just standing staring. She, even the other week when I couldn't get me inhaler to work properly, you were instantly ready to stand up. You are such a caring person, and to say what you've just said about Diana, am I saying Diana right?
Deanna, it's absolutely
Deanna,
fine.
yeah, I don't want to offend.
It's close enough.
I don't want to come off the bat and offend all the Trekkies straight away. But it makes so much sense to the person you are.
Oh,
the penny literally just dropped as you were saying it. I was like,
you could see the penny dropping. To be fair,
honestly, the amount of times that Becca has just like offered help to me, even.
Oh, don't! You're gonna make me cry, and this is
I don't mean to make you cry in the first episode. I'm sure I'll have plenty of opportunities to do that later on. But
Sammie's already tried with me before we started recording.
Do you think maybe this is a secret task?
Well, everyone tries to make me cry, so maybe I'm just trying to get revenge back on people.
I just don't take compliments of people being nice to me very well.
Oh, I genuinely meant it though. I'll not repeat it.
I've no doubt. I just
but
it's my brain broken.
It just totally makes sense. Oh, that was such a moment. Thank you.
You're welcome. What about yourself? What was one of your first influences?
So like I said earlier, I grew up as a boy. It's the only best way I can describe it. I grew up amongst my older cousin, who was just, it was just boys stuff, bikes, BMX and shit like that. And I didn't really get a chance to. I wasn't looking. I just wasn't looking. I didn't care. Like I said earlier, my heroes were the likes of Pete Venkman and Optimus Prime, and He-Man, even She-Ra. She was there, but I wasn't that bothered. I didn't care. It wasn't until. And I know I have an encounter with a character who I will mention at some point, who probably explains the reason I am the way I am today, looks-wise. But when it comes to actually getting it in the female aspect of empowerment, was when I started reading Captain Marvel back in 2014. I had such a shit year in 2014. Actually, I had a shit year, but the best year in 2014. I had the worst start to where like rock bottom it wasn't there anymore. I'd gone way past it. But in that rock bottom, I totally found who I am again. I was very much a lost soul. I wrote a whole article about this. I used to be a writer. If you didn't know, from the Nerdy Up North podcast, I used to be a writer for two American-based websites, writing reviews and articles, and I had my own column, and I wrote a whole article about it. I've totally lost where I was going with this now, but yeah, Captain Marvel. I totally lost where I was like on a proper roll there. You'll find I do this. I have a tendency for like getting on one, and then I just all of a sudden lose my train of thought. But yeah, I had a one-track mind, and then all of a sudden comic books came into my life, and that one-track mind just came back to oh, there's more out there. And Captain Marvel, after I got like all the big ones out of the way with, Old Man Logan was the first comic book I ever read. And then I started reading Batman and Killing Joke. And then I was like, right, I'm ready to branch out. where do I go from here? And I wanted a female character because I was like, hey, I don't do female characters. Let's see what one brings. And Kelly Sue DeConnick was just halfway through her Higher, Further, Faster run. And I picked it up from there. And I have never felt such a sense of, and I may use this word a lot, but empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is what we can do. Oh, I get it now. And I got it so much that I went on this whole crusade of I just wanted to know about women and what they can offer me and what strength they can give me, because I'm going to swear for the first time, but I fucking needed it at the time. And it was her, and it was her words, and Kelly Sue stays with me all the time. If I am ever in doubt of myself, I always go back to, oh, what would Kelly Sue do? I even wrote her in my column, I wrote her an open love letter.
Oh.
And she read it.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, she read it and she retweeted it on the X or whatever you call it, the Bird app.
Twitter.
And yeah, that one. And
It'll
she
always be
read it.
Twitter.
And she read it, and it was such a moment. It was like a full circle moment. It was a full circle moment because it was around the time I did an interview with the BBC when Captain Marvel movie was coming out. That's how much I love this woman.
Wow.
That I did it. I talked so much shit. I can't even remember half the stuff I said to that guy. And I was like, well, did you know? And her cat's not really called Chewy either. I was no, no, it's not really called Goose, it's called Chewy. I was very adamant about getting certain facts right. But I got a sense of wonder out of that, and there's a whole new world out there. It doesn't have to be all male centric or just nothing. And nothing is worse than anything, if that makes sense. Because there's no I like the idea of having a self of like identity.
Mhm.
I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but I like to know who I am. And she kind of helped bring me into the nerdy person I am today. So yeah, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. She's the film shite, but we'll not hold that against her.
Retried. She did well with it.
Hey, Kelly Sue's in it, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And Kelly Sue is wrote. To be honest, you could put Kelly Sue and Carol Danvers in the same category, in the same kind of choice, because Kelly Sue went on to write a comic book called Bitch Planet.
Mm.
And it is very much, I would actually highly recommend reading it. It's very much what might drive you when it comes to this podcast, because it is a dystopian world where men are everything. They're the rulers. They agree on everything. And if you don't follow and be compliant, and you are classed as non-compliant, you are put on an off planet in prison.
Mm.
Women, just women. And you get to meet these bunch of women who are very non-compliant and it's like their story that Kelly has only wrote 6 issues, and she hasn't even gotten to the nitty-gritty of it. You're just getting to know these people and why they're there. And there was one incident where a woman got sent to the planet because she cooked the wrong meal one day. That's how bad it was. It's such a brilliant, it's very 70s exploitation. The artwork in it is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I would highly recommend reading.
Gonna have to see if I can find it.
Yeah, that was me
I'm
writing it down, by the way.
I've probably got 100 copies sitting around somewhere, because when it first came out, I think I bought it like 7 times over. I absolutely adore this comic so much. And she went on to write Pretty Deadly, which is one of the most beautiful graphic novels ever written. Stunning. Emma Rossi is beautiful. So yeah, Kelly Sue and Carol Danvers, we'll put them two in a category together.
Yeah, I think they belong together.
They do. I wish she went back to her, but never mind. She didn't. She went to DC and wrote Wonder Woman instead and Aquaman, but that's a whole different thing. Go on then, Sarah.
Right.
Tell us your nexty one.
I'm basically going from the furthest back, coming forward into my most recent. So the next ones I would say after Scully, I'm gonna clump two together, but I haven't got a lot to say. It's basically just a line or two about each of them. But I'm gonna put them under the headline of the rock chicks of the 90s. And specifically for me, Skin from Skunk and Nancy and Shirley Manson from Garbage.
Ooh,
Definitely.
interesting.
To see it.
You're getting the kind of clue of Sarah, aren't you?
Yeah.
Skin's a good one.
I mean, I basically wanted to be Shirley Manson when I was a teenager. You know, the dresses, the short skirts, and the DMs. That's what I wanted to be.
DMs if they were into heavy music.
I didn't actually get official DMs till I was a lot older, but never mind. I had quite good stumpy boots.
And I remember having some in primary school, because I always used to say I would get married in DMs. I didn't actually.
I was a bridesmaid in DMs quite recently, and my friend did get married in DMs.
Oh, it was always I was like, I'm gonna have white DMs, and they're gonna be absolutely amazing. And I got married with black flat shoes on.
Yeah.
Our dreams change.
Yeah.
They do.
The bride had her white DMs on, and the bridesmaids had their stompy boots on, and we all had those, like, what I would call the witch stripy tights.
Love it.
Yeah.
So the bride had the white and black ones, and then we all had like orange and black and purple and black ones.
That sounds like an end of 90s, early 2000s dream.
This was just October.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
I love that. I don't think DMs would have went with my 1950s wedding dress, but I might have given it a good go.
Yeah.
My stompy boots would have went with it though.
Yeah. Anyway, on a similar point to what I was saying about Scully, it wasn't just that Shirley Manson was a girl fronting a rock band. She was a ginger fronting a rock band.
I knew there was a catch.
Yeah. It always is. Plus, she's got a heck of a voice. Excuse me. And I went to see Garbage for the first time. I managed to see them about 4 years ago. And they've still got it. They've still got it.
I was never a fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan of Garbage, but Skunk and Nancy is a whole different conversation.
Skunk and Nancy. Skin, I've always admired her, just based on the music, basically. She's got a hell of a set of lungs on her. But I mean, I read her autobiography not long after it came out as well, and it just brought out a whole newfound respect for the woman, and you know, it just showed how strong and determined she was, and you know, she just looks cool.
Yeah, she looks so badass. Who could pull off Skinhead?
It's just like such an easy, like,
she was
chill,
always meant to.
but
She was
cool
always
air about her.
Yeah, she looks like she was always meant to look like that and just ooze awesomeness.
With a voice like that, you wouldn't expect her to be so softly spoken. Yeah, she's very softly spoken, but she speaks with authority.
Yeah.
Still, even with a quiet voice. Plus, she went to university in Middlesbrough, so she has a northern connection.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I have a little connection with Skin. Not the best one, but I still do. I lost a dear friend of mine when I was 14 years old, and Week was played at her funeral. I've never been able to listen to it since. Can't, won't. That and Alanis Morissette's, you know, the secret track on Jagged Little Pill that you had to wait an eternity to fucking get to.
Yeah.
That. So I'm glad you can't get to it, because it's a very sad song.
It is.
Like, my goodness. But yeah, Week was played at her funeral. She was a person who just, if she just was around just a few years later, that would have been it for her. She got music before I could even understand what it meant, because music was a huge part of my life. Like, I have seen some of the biggest bands in metal and rock and even pop as well.
Yeah.
And she was there in the cusp of it. Like, she was into Nirvana and, like all the dirty, gritty stuff and Pearl Jam, and I was not there yet. And then a few years after she died, it's like it started to come into like there was more people out there, and I was like, oh my God, this is so her time. And every time there's like something that happens in music, I go back to her and just think, oh God, this would have been her time. Sorry to bring the mood down. I was being cheerful, and
That's sad,
Well,
but
seriously.
yeah.
There's a few times I could say that, music saved me.
oh,
There's a few times you could say
100%.
that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's almost like whenever I don't know myself how to put it into words what's going through my head,
Mm,
you can either get that feeling from a song, even
Yeah.
if you're not saying exactly what you're feeling, something resonates within you.
absolutely. I am my most emotional when I am listening to music. Like movies,
Same.
like they can get me in a way, and TV can get me in a way that is just it's borderline ridiculous how ridiculous I go on. But music is a totally different emotion, a totally different tear that you cry. And there's one album that will always, if I need a good head clear out, and I need to be able to think properly, and they've got too much going on in there, may sound stupid, but the first Slipknot album is the one that I put on. I will literally go in the car and just put that on, drive around, come back, totally fine again. So I totally get what you mean.
I use the Linkin Park. Is it the Encore album? The one that they did with? Is it the crossover one? Is it with Jay-Z?
Jay-Z, yeah.
That one. That album. Yes. I'm the same.
Yeah.
I'm only just starting to appreciate Linkin Park again. I'm going through a bit of a moment with them.
Yeah.
I remember this is how old I am. I remember when they came out. I remember their album coming
Sam,
out.
I'm the same age as you.
Then that's the old Sarah. We're that old. No, I remember being in college, my second year of college, and the album came out. No, first year of college, and the album came out, and it was like, look at this band, and everyone's like, they're a bit shit, because new metal was like, they're not Limp Bizkit, are they? And I was like, I love this band so much. Missed them playing at Download. I went to sleep. I could hear them on the field, but I was so tired. It was Sunday. They were closing for Sunday, and I missed them. One band I have only ever missed was them. So devastated. But I have seen some of the biggest bands in metal. I saw Dimebag before he died.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Download. He played with his band that he was in when he died. It was a moment. It was a really good moment.
Yeah.
Sorry, tangents. You will find that I can do
we
this.
like a good tangent.
No, it's absolutely fine. We discover things.
I feel home. Oh, it's like being on Monsters all over again. Tangents are allowed. I do love that you've gone with the music side. It really, because music, like you said to us earlier, music is a big part of your life. And I feel like when you we talk more later on about, different women, that music might play a big part for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I do like that. Come on, Becca, what you got?
I don't actually have any musical inspirations that are as big as that. I've mostly gone for TV and film characters that have kind of struck a chord with me. But the second one is it's a program called Ocean Girl. I don't know if either of you saw it when it was out.
No,
it's an Australian program that
sounds right.
It's an Australian program that was on BBC One, after school program, and it's about a girl called Neri who lives alone on an island, and she makes friends with the occupants of an underwater research facility, and she makes friends with a whale. And I, as a child, always wanted to be this woman. I basically wanted to be able to swim underwater. I wanted to be able to speak to the whales. And it was one of the reasons why I was so determined to swim at such a young age. And even now, I've gone back and I've watched this program a few times. and I'd forgotten a lot of it over the years, but I'd always remembered this character of Neri and the fact that she was just this. She was amazing, but obviously she'd lived alone. She, she was born on an alien world, but she'd obviously crash landed on Earth. She had no parents. She was just I know. But she made friends with these people that were on this research faculty, and obviously she got a boyfriend eventually, and she got an adopted mom, and she found other people from her species, but it kind of very much struck a chord with me when I was young, because obviously I wanted to swim. There was a lot of activism over saving the planet, and that's obviously quite important to me now. Obviously recycling, I think with all the stuff that's been going on with all the water, the bacteria in the water, it's made me actually think of this character more and more. And yeah, I just think this character was very important to me growing up. And even now, I kind of wish I had fantastic hair that she has. She had brown sort of curly hair, and I've always wanted just to have curly hair, but I'm stuck with straight hair and
stuff. Are you cursed with a straight too? Yeah. Me too. I have a mother who has this beautiful, when she washes it and ever so dries it a bit, it goes all wavy and lovely and curly, and I got stuck with straight hair.
Yeah. But
I wish I had straight hair.
But you've got fantastic coloured hair. I love your hair.
Yeah, I love the colour of your hair.
I dye my hair to match it, remember?
I've actually gone back dark.
I did notice. I was like, I couldn't quite place when that timeline happened though.
Oh yeah, the timeline's very confusing on when my hair went dark.
Yes.
I recorded Monsters well in advance of that episode, so I did have red hair, and then before I went to Paris, I was like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the upkeep. I do this every time I get red. I have actually had it longer than I've done in the past, mind. And then I was like, no, I'm going back. It still actually is red. There's still red in it. It's just got a lot more dark in it. Yeah, the timeline's a bit messed up. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I love trying to work out the timeline, but yes. So this character of Neri was just very, very important to me as a child, because I was a bit of a water baby. So yes.
Oh, I love that. I had to learn to swim because I had a bad knee, and my mother always said swimming was important, was a skill that you should have. Yes. And as everything in my life, I took it way too seriously. I don't know if you are like this, but I get hyperfixated on things. And if it's not karate that I'm obsessed with, then it's horse riding that I'm obsessed with, and then swimming that I became far too obsessed with because I just took it too far, to the point I usually swam for the Sunderland team when they used to have one.
Yeah.
That's how far I took it.
Wow.
And then I started playing an instrument, and I took that too far, and I'm graded in that, and I've got theories in that, and then I went to college and I started working full time. It just went downhill from there. But yeah, I get hyper fixated on things to the point where I have to. I go too far. I feel I go too far, and then it gets to a point where I think, oh, I can't. There's nowhere else to go, so I'll just stop doing that now, and I'll move on to something else. And I really easily can do that. I'm not saying I would ever do that with this podcast, but that's what I'm like. I'm
worried.
No, it took years, by the way. It didn't just happen overnight. But it's me. I'm very much like, I get so fixated on something, and then it gets to the point where, I can't do. No, I'm done. I'll walk away, and I'll do something else. I've always been like that. What I was telling you last night, undiagnosed.
It's why I've just nodded and smiling.
I noticed.
I'm very much there with you.
Yeah, it explains so much.
When you get that diagnosis, it really does.
It's well. There'll be a lot of questions answered. A lot. I love the fact that I was going to say something. I've totally lost my train of thought again. No, go on. I've lost it. I'm sorry. I was going to talk about your character and
It's
the fact
fine.
that you still hold on to her for like
I do,
all
I
this
do,
time.
and I'm actually gonna. I was when I was doing a little bit of research just to make sure I had the character's name right. I was like, I'm actually gonna buy the DVDs when I get paid. I'm gonna buy the DVDs and I'm gonna have a proper rewatch of it, and just to see if it is as good as I remember.
I
watched
really hope it is. I really hope you're not
too.
disappointed by it. Oh no, because there's nothing worse when you've built it up in your head so
Yeah.
much, and then you go back
Yeah.
and rewatch it, and you're like, it's not as good as I remember it being.
I'm hoping so because it's an Australian program, and I have not been disappointed by any rewatching of an Australian program so far. I've rewatched Round the Twist. That didn't disappoint me. I've watched another one that didn't disappoint me. So I'm hoping.
Was the other one Heartbreak High?
No, I can't remember what it was.
Was it Heartbreak High? Or was that an American one? I think that get off my wires. I think that was an American one. Sorry, the cats are on the wires. My work table's like right next to us.
Oh,
Get
no.
off. Oh God, what was it called? Oh, I remember Pugwall.
Pugwall, I remember.
Yeah, he had a really catchy song.
I don't
Oh,
remember
shitbags.
that one.
Yeah, I remember Pugwall. You played a guitar. And there's me and my guitar. I'll find you I'll find you the trailer for it, and then you'll be like, oh yeah.
I probably will. But yeah, so I've not been disappointed so far. So I'm hoping it's as good as I remember.
Oh,
so yeah.
that's sweet. That is sweet. Well, I'll go with the one that kind of explains this.
Okay.
I'm as everyone knows, or if they don't know and they've never listened to anything that I've ever done in the past, I am a huge horror fan. Have been since I was 8 years old when I watched my first ever one. I hate to bring this up, and I hate the fact that it's been done on a Monsters episode. Dolly Dearest. And going on an absolute horrific journey of horror from 8 onwards to like, I'm now 41 coming up. There's one lady of horror who, she is just everything to me. Absolutely everything. It's Cassandra Peterson. Elvira,
I thought it
Mistress
might
of the
be.
Dark. Yes. When I saw her for the first time, I couldn't believe a woman could actually look like that. I come from a mining village where people in their 40s look like they were in their 80s. And I'm referring to my own grandmother. And I hadn't seen it before. Like I said, I'm a huge tomboy. Don't get us wrong, I didn't instantly go out and try and, mimic her. But she stayed with me constantly until I started to experiment with my look when I was about 14, 15 years old. And she was the first thing that came to my head. The black hair is because of her. Because I've had black hair since I was about 16. And I got rid of my natural colour. But you can't guess what it is.
Blonde?
Brown.
Huh? It was blonde. It was originally blonde, and then it turned into like a mousy, brownie, blondie, and then this.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, but yeah, she was a huge like inspiration in the way that when I actually read her autobiography a couple of years ago when it came out, because instantly had to have it. I love the fact that she is a feminine icon who celebrates the fact that she is a woman. She does not move away from the fact that, yes, I have these amazing assets and these fantastic legs, and there is nothing wrong with me wanting to show them. I am not using them to get forward. I just got them. I'm going to show them.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of attitude that was like, I love that so much. That woman knows how to name drop, though, in her book. She knows how to drop a name. I think I told this story once on Nerdy Up North, or Monsters, one of them, where she was talking about a man that she was talking to at a party. And this man was named Bob. And Bob was very, very pleasant to her and, give her, at the end of the night, they exchanged phone numbers. And she thought, you know what? Why not? I'm gonna give Bob a ring. So she rang Bob's hotel room. And the woman went, Bob, room do you mean Mr. De Niro? And I was like, bitch, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. She had a very interesting relationship with Elvis Presley. Before he was on drugs and alcohol, and he was very much in the serious mind frame of his life, he told her to get out of Vegas because she was a Las Vegas showgirl when she was younger. Told her to get out of Vegas. Get out, girl. It's no good for you. Sin City will drag you under. And she didn't. She didn't listen to him. She lost her virginity to a very famous Welsh singer who is known to have an asset of his own, Mr. Tom Jones, who put her in hospital.
Oh.
In not in a terrible, like, no, he didn't do anything. He's just, he almost split her in two. And she had to go to hospital. And she couldn't go and tell him what had happened because the next time she saw him, he was standing with his wife. So yeah, she's very good at spinning a yarn. Her life is incredible. Her career is unreal. She got sued by Vampira, who is very much an inspiration of Elvira's look, and obviously the name kind of like, yeah. But when it came down to the court case, Vampira didn't have a leg to stand on because her look is based on Morticia Addams. And if you're going to go down that route, it's gonna get messy.
Yeah.
So the case got thrown out. I generally don't think at the time of when it happened that Vampira was the one steering that ship. I think there was a lot of people talking in her ear to do this. I genuinely don't. I would love to believe she didn't give a shit and was probably more happy at the fact that someone was inspired by her and not taking it as, oh, it's been. That's what I want to believe from one of my, my heroes of horror. But Elvira is. I saw her at about 9-10 years old. She's been in my life for a very long time. I hope to God she's in it for even longer. But she's everything. She's everything to us. She's actually right up there too. My husband's been trying to get a hold of a picture I wanted years ago, and it was on eBay, and it was a painting of her, just a painting, but it was kind of had the neon colors in the back, but then it was just pure black, and just her face. And I've never been able to find it since. But he's always, every birthday, he always tries to look for it. Well, I do have another one of my my ladies on my. She's about 7 foot. She is on my list as well, but she's 7 foot. She's at my front door. I say hello to her as I come in, and I say goodbye to her as I'm leaving. I love her, and we'll talk about her in a bit. But my last one was Elvira. Have you got any more actually?
Oh, like I said, I had about 8 prepared.
Wow. If we just want to give some context of what we're actually doing, it's just to get an idea of us.
Yeah.
Of who we are and our interests. Just to see, just this is what we want to talk about. This is it. Women. Yeah. This is what you're going to get. So enjoy it. Go on, lovely lady. That was your cue.
I'm gonna go to the next one. From, I believe I first came across this lady when I was about 16, 17. Because if I remember rightly, she was an MTV show, and we didn't have Sky or MTV until quite late on.
Oh no, I was poor too. I didn't have it either.
Yeah. But I've recently taken up rewatching it because all of the episodes are on Prime.
Oh.
I'm going for Daria.
Oh.
I don't know a funny story from an actual goth girl. Never seen it. Never seen it.
I've only seen very limited episodes.
I've never seen it. Never been interested.
No. I'm going from this because I just remember 15, 16 or whenever it was that I first saw her, I just thought she's cool.
She does look cool. She's got
an attitude. She's cool.
I feel like if I watched it now, I'd like it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's all on Prime.
Thanks.
It's added to your list.
Oh, that list. It's actually getting shorter. Believe it or not, it's getting shorter.
I just thought, you know what, right? She's the monotone voice of reason. She's got dry wit. She's got, you can just kind of like feel her rolling her eyes without actually seeing her do it at the things that are happening around her. And there are some absurd things that happen around her. But they're kind of like normal everyday absurdities. So it's like the other kids at school. And it's based in America. So you've got like characters in it who are the traditional jock who's the lead quarterback on the football team dating the prettiest cheerleader and stuff like that. And they're both dumb as each other. And it's things that happen with them. You've got our little sister who's in the fashion club and thinks she's so cool and so hip, and Daria's just lame.
So it's just a typical American sitcom.
Yeah, kind of.
God.
Kind of. I think she's kind of like one of those young adult icons.
The ones I missed out on. Like
she's
Claire
intelligent as well. That's the thing. But what I didn't like about it was the teachers in our school were kind of like asking the class questions and nobody knew the answer except for Daria. And then she puts her hand up to answer it and they're like, don't show off.
Oh.
I didn't like that attitude towards her, but she's just kind of like, well, do what you want then.
Dickheads.
But it's like, it comes from a point of like humour and genuine insight, you know. She's got she's a misanthropist, really, but
she's a what?
Misanthropist.
That's a big word.
She doesn't like people.
Is that what that means?
She doesn't like people.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. The more you know.
The more you know. But she has a deep understanding of the world around her, really, at the same time, and human nature in itself. And I think she's got a genuine desire to do good.
Yeah.
But she's going to do it her way, and if that means a few sarcastic remarks and getting the upper hand on certain people, then that's the way she's going to do it.
I'm starting to see why you might like her.
Me too.
I'm like, it's like piecing together, because obviously we know each other outside of the podcasting world, and it is starting to like, oh yeah, I get that now. I get that now.
You can see where things are coming from.
Absolutely. She was never. I think I caught her a couple of times. I'm not going to say like I dead on didn't watch it. I just never got into it. And she is one of those like women of the time, of the pop culture time, who just passed us by again, because I didn't care. I think it was like Claire from My So-Called Life. She would have been perfect as an angsty teenager to get me through some shit hard times. I couldn't give a shit. Like, I didn't care about it. I didn't see that side of it because, you know, my brain doesn't work that way.
I don't know who came first, but I kind of like see Daria as the what MTV were trying to make as a female version of Beavis and Butthead, like in a way. With Daria,
guys.
Yeah, but with Daria being intelligent, kind of like that side of things, Beavis and Butthead being toilet humor.
Yeah, I can see it.
That's kind of what I think they were going for. I don't know if it is, but
yeah,
I get it. I get it. It's like it's almost quite a compliment. You boys are really dumb and really stupid and bum jokes and shit. And then you've got Daria, who's been like completely intelligent, from what Sarah's saying, in the way that she narrates her life.
Plus, she's got a really cool best friend called Jane as well, who has a dark black bob. Oops.
Oh, well, I might actually go back and watch it. Paul bangs on about it all the time. He loves it. I never got into it.
Give it a few episodes to get into it.
Beavis and Butthead, though, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
I think I was too involved in like Star Trek and those type of programs to really get into anything like that.
Oh, you let the Trek take over.
I did.
Damn it.
See, I was late to Trek. Trek basically entered my life last year.
Oh, yeah.
I am a never to Trek. If you want to see how I react to a Trek episode, we did one on the Nerdy Up North podcast. Blank expression throughout the whole thing. But don't get us wrong, I love hearing the stories come out of it. Not to say that I'm not. I joke about, I'm not liking it, but I love listening to people and how they feel about it. So I couldn't give a shit what my feelings are on it. It's how you feel about it and people can there has been some people who have turned us into other fandoms because of their love for it.
Yeah.
I just love listening. I love fandom. So, and I love what you can get out of it. So I do like hearing about it.
That's basically what happened to get me watching Star Trek. I liked listening to Goodwill and Graham talking about it.
Amazing.
And I thought if I can at least watch a bit of it, I could maybe try and join in the conversation a bit more when they're actually doing their podcast.
I love that. Oh, that is class.
I mean, there's no way I'm retaining half as much information as what Goodwill has got in his head.
I cannot retain. I go to Goodwill if I have questions around ships. There is no way, knowing obviously what I do with Obsidian Fleet, I nowhere near have as much knowledge as Goodwill. Like, he is the fountain of knowledge.
It's not just with Trek though. Like Michael likes horror, believe it or not. Michael likes old horror. Plan 9, when we were doing the Plan 9 from Outer Space episode on Monsters, he was very, very excited for us to be doing it because Michael, he's a wonder, is that man. He really is.
I relate to Goodwill on the Mass Effect side of things.
Oh, that's right.
He's a big Mass Effect fan, and so am I. Femshag all the way.
I know that reference.
I
have actually played Mass Effect.
There is a bit of a blank expression there.
I went through a time of playing Mass Effect, and then I stopped. Oh, that's a good one. Becca.
Yes, I've got one more on my official list.
Well, I was thinking because we're going over, not going over, but we'll make these our last ones.
Yes.
And then we'll give everyone an idea of what we plan on doing for this future passion project.
I do have to shout this person. I've got special shout out though.
No, you can shout out as much as you want.
Good.
Yes, so my last person that inspires me is probably a little bit of a surprise, and not a surprise, because anyone who knows me knows that I have got three passions in life. It's Doctor Who, Star Trek, and the third one is Power Rangers.
Well, no, yeah.
Did you not know that?
Oh my goodness! I mean, your email address gives it away massively. Even though for a dyslexic, trying to do it all in one go was hard work.
Yes, so my last character that inspired me was from the original Power Rangers. So we're talking like 1993, 1994, and most people are going to think it was the pink Power Ranger Kimberly, but it wasn't. It was actually the yellow Power Ranger, because everyone wanted to play the pink Power Ranger. Well, I didn't. I meant I always got the role that I wanted because I could play the yellow Power Ranger. And I think Trini as a character she was friend to everyone. She looked after the blue Power Ranger. She overcame her fear of heights. And I think as a character on television at that time, when there were not many characters like her, in looks, in appearance, in, softly spoken, she was softly spoken, but she was also able to use martial arts. I just love this character to the point that even now I've got things that inspire me, which is
fuck yeah.
Look
at that.
My first piece of Power Rangers merchandise, and I've been waiting, and I'm so glad they've released this before it's...
For audio listeners, because you'll have to get used to doing this.
Oh, yes. For audio listeners, it is the tiger sabers from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So...
I mean, if you want to get a look at the glory, please go and look on YouTube, because that is spectacular. Not what I thought you were going to pull down, mind. I was going to pull a figure.
But I've got figures, but they are in another room. And to the point that when we actually went to Nerdfest, I actually bought all these figures, and the guy thanked me for buying the female Power Rangers because no one actually buys them. And I didn't even encourage my tiny human. I was like, whichever figures you want, you just pick whatever. And she literally picked the blue one, she picked the female characters. And I was just like, I've done a good job here raising this kid, because she's picked the female Power Rangers and she wasn't prompted. She wasn't that. As a child of the 90s, there was nothing out for women who wanted to play their own Ranger. The figures weren't there. Mm-hmm. And even now, the figures are still not there, but this is my pride and joy. And I love this saber that I've got as a representation of this character that I have very much loved for
I love that
30 years. And I think the fact that when they brought back Power Rangers for the 30th anniversary, it really, really upset me that obviously this character of Trini passed away, because unfortunately her actress passed away back in 2001, just after she was in The Crow 2.
I didn't do it this time. I didn't bring it up. I was gonna, but I didn't. Yeah, she did. It
was a car crash, wasn't it?
Yeah,
she did City of Angels. She is freaking tremendous. I like City of Angels, as we learned when we did our Crow episode, Sarah, on the Nerdy Up North podcast. Yes. I actually like the second one, and she did a phenomenal job. My husband broke my heart with the Power Rangers.
Oh,
yeah. So the majority of my cousins are boys. When I was growing up, there was just me and my older cousin, and then 4 years later, the rest of them came along, and the majority of them are boys, and we used to play Power Rangers. And I always wanted to be the Black Power Ranger. The goth was there. Yeah. It was there, but I had to be a girl.
Oh.
So I was always the yellow one, because I just loved how badass she was. Kimberly was too perfect. Yeah. I didn't know. And she did gymnastics. I fucking hate gymnastics. I hate it. I tried it as a kid, and I feel like I don't know if I'm a tall person. I'm a very, very tall person, and bottom of my back, I have tall person syndrome with the bottom of my back. It feels like glass, and I will protect it by any means. My mum used to say that it looked like I had a stick going up my arse, because I just don't bend my back, and it's because I'm terrified of hurting it. Yeah. And gymnastics brought that out of me severely. But yeah, my husband broke my heart. We were in our first flat, and he was watching Power Ranger videos, and he sat and explained to me that every time you see the Power Rangers in their suits from the 90s, that's not them.
No.
That is Japanese actors and actresses from the 80s.
Sentai.
I didn't know that, Becca. And all my illusions of my childhood were shattered in that moment.
I will help bring some of those pieces back. It's only the first season, because the second season onward is more American footage, and it is more American.
Rita is Japanese though, isn't she?
She is for the first season and a bit, and then it's a different actress. Because the footage from the Sentai, there isn't enough footage for the 3 seasons that we had. So they've spliced together footage and changed some of the actresses and things like that.
Broke my heart.
But
I had to walk away from him.
And I'll probably shatter your heart ever so slightly again. But the Yellow Ranger in the Japanese version is actually Mel.
Yes,
that's why there's no skirts, because it was a man
right. Yeah. Oh, poor Trini. Yeah, it was a heart-wrenching moment for us. One that's kind of stuck with us. Not gonna lie. Dickhead. Do you know what? I should have seen it coming. We're talking about women who inspire us and the people that we are today, to give people that feel of who we are. Should have known that was coming.
It was either that or Buffy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. If anyone had listened to the episode of, I'm sorry, I will stop doing a referencing back to previous episodes. I've just done so many, and the ones that stand out to us are the ones that I don't know anything about, and Buffy was one of them. My sister was on that episode, and she was the reason why if it's ever entered my life, was because of her. So, oh, I love that. Should I go with my last one?
Yeah.
She's on my, like I said to you earlier, she's on my wall. She's outside, and I see her as I leave, and I say hello and goodbye to her. She hasn't been in my life very long, but for some reason I can't seem to shift her. Whether it be her movies, the book that I am trying my damnedest to get through because I am going through a reading stick at the minute, is the wonderful, legendary, you will never get anyone like her, Marilyn Monroe. I love this woman so much. It's sickening how much I love her. Yeah, I have she's about 7 foot. I got her for Christmas years ago. She is a mess. Like, she has been through a lot. I used to smoke, so she's been in a house full of smoke. Like, she's been through some stuff. But she's there on my wall. I will not take her down. I love her. And I get to say, I generally say goodbye and good morning to, like, hello as I'm leaving, because she is just everything. She's very much like Elvira, but in like a complete, like, obviously not aesthetically wise, but very much a driven woman who had a lot to prove. There's a lot of misconceptions about Marilyn.
Yeah.
Obviously she was not a dumb blonde. She was very, very well-versed woman. I have some similarities with her when it comes to books. Marilyn used to take her books everywhere. She had a very hefty collection, and her books were her friend. Was her way of proving that she was intelligent as everyone else in the room, because it was the only physical way she could do it, was through her books. I'm reading a book at the moment. I'm trying to, written by a lady who, she does the Marilyn Monroe collection podcast with the Marilyn Monroe collector. If nobody knows who that guy is, he owns some of the rarest Marilyn pieces in the world. He is one of the very few who managed to walk around her Brentwood home as it was going up for sale and take footage of it inside. He was the one who did a whole campaign on how terrible blonde was, and what, I don't want to say what Kim Kardashian did to the dress, because in my opinion, not her fault.
No.
This is just my opinion.
No.
Not her fault.
I agree with it.
Not her fault. Ripley allowed her to do that.
Yeah.
It was in their hands, their responsibility. And I don't blame her for asking. I don't blame her for trying. Why the fuck would you not?
No.
It was their responsibility. They had to say no. They just had to say no, and they couldn't do it. So more fool them. It's on them.
Yeah.
But he did this whole big campaign on that, and he has a podcast with a lady who does the LA tours. She is a Marilyn Monroe historian, and her book is it's so detailed. Like, did you know in 36 years Marilyn Monroe lived in 48 houses?
Jeez.
And she lists every single one of them. And every time period, she lists it all, and why she was there and who she was there with. It is ridiculous how much detail goes into it. And when I started reading this book, it talks about her early life, and it kind of talks up to her death and just a little bit beyond it. Not going into great detail, but it's more the people in her life around her death. Didn't even cross my mind. Her mother was still alive when she died. Her mother didn't die until the 80s.
Wow.
They just blew my mind. I love learning about this woman who I love her movies. What's my favorite one? It's one of my favorite ones, but she isn't in it for very long. It's There's No Business Like Show Business. Ethel Merman is just amazing. Like, I love old Hollywood, and Ethel Merman for me is just like the epitome of old Hollywood. That voice, the way that she's very campbelly acting it. She reminds a lot of Mae West. and but Marilyn's in it, but it's not like, she's not like a leading role in it, like as in Some Like It Hot or Gentlemen's Prefer Blondes, but she's still a presence, a huge presence. And especially like All About Eve as well with Betty Davis. She's only in it a handful of times, but when she's there, does she steal the screen? And you're stealing it against Betty Davis. Betty Davis loved her, by the way. Absolutely loved her. Thought the world of her. But yeah, Marilyn, I used to work overtime on a Sunday, and I would download YouTube videos of documentaries that I could like put my phone underneath my screen so no one could see, and I'd sit and watch Marilyn documentaries all day while I'm at work. Shouldn't say that, but I did.
You're learning about us and I'm learning about you. That was fascinating. I didn't realise any of those things that you said about her at all.
Yeah, I could go on forever. I love her. I love old Hollywood. Like there's a reason I love Universal Monsters is because it's in that era of old Hollywood.
Yeah.
As much as I love them, I love the scandals that around that time as well. But old actresses may possibly be popping out for me from time to time. And Jean Harlow is another huge love of mine too. Absolutely adore the woman, even though her career was incredibly short. But for someone who had one of the shortest careers, has made such an impact that nearly, 80 odd years later, we're still talking about her.
Yeah.
She still gets brought up. I've just bought, I got it for Christmas, an autobiography book of hers. It's beautiful, absolutely stunning book of Jean Harlow's life. I love old Hollywood. Marilyn kind of sits on the top of the pile. I love that woman so much. She's I even like the film that Michelle Williams did. I feel like she did a very, very good portrayal of her. She wasn't playing Marilyn as the ditzy blonde that everyone expects her to be. Hate that movie that came on Netflix though. Absolutely hated it. Don't watch it.
Seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Don't watch
Just
it.
okay.
It's based on a book on Marilyn that is completely fictional, that was brought out in the 50s or 60s. No, it has to be after her death. So about maybe 60s, 70s, maybe. And it's completely fictional. And they've made it into a book. They are completely exploiting her. What a lot of Hollywood did in her career in 2023. What the fuck? Yeah. Not a big fan, but she kind of like her and probably get a shock about this one as well. Anna Nicole Smith is another one of my I hold her very, very dear. And the documentary that they did on her on Netflix was amazing. Because there's a lot they could have shown that would have really made people laugh at her.
Yeah.
And they didn't, and they toned it down. But then they had to go and release that dog shit film of Marilyn's life. It's not. It's terrible. Just go and watch one of Marilyn's films. Watch Misfits. One of the best things she ever did. Just really showed her acting chops. Brilliant. So yeah, Marilyn. That's a bit of a combo, that really, isn't it? Carol Danvers, Elvira, and Marilyn Monroe. It is literally my personalities just all mixed together.
And I don't know if you realise, Sammie, but you've kind of brought it full circle with Marilyn, because Gillian Anderson was dressed up as Marilyn when she played Media in American Gods.
Yeah, that is also a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Look at that. Moments.
You brought it full circle.
And that wasn't planned.
All moments. Do you want to give your honourable shout outs? And I don't really want to take anything away from you that you've written down.
Oh, no. These are basically people that were all like on and off my list in the lead up to this. So I'm just going to list the names and see what you think.
Go on.
Honourable shout outs go to Leslie Knope from Parks and Recreation.
Oh, yes. The woman who can introduce Valentine's Day. Absolutely. Vote no.
Yeah. Kat Dennings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Aubrey Plaza.
Yes.
Stephanie Beatriz.
Absolutely.
Jennifer Hale.
Yes. Someone who I really should have talked about last night on the X-Men episode. I'm very sorry.
Well, don't worry. I've got a lot to say about her later.
Okay.
And one that I think that you might like here, Sammie, Caitlin Monahan, Ask a Mortician.
Look at you.
She's
Look
my
at
most recent one that I look up to.
Look at you getting at my deathy heart. Yes, I love Caitlin. Caitlin Doherty. Again, another book I've been trying to read. That's a hard read though. It like Smoke on My Eyes is one of the best reads I've read when it comes to crematoriums and understanding American crematoriums and how, because I'm going to go all death on you here.
It's okay.
America.
I brought it up.
It's free reign.
Well, America is the reason why you have funerals the way that we have them for, is because they'd learned how to make a profit on it, and how their funeral system is to ours is just night and day. So to see it from her perspective and her job, it was really interesting. The second book is the one that I've been trying to read, and is the one where it's different funerals throughout the world and how other people celebrate it. And there's some things in there like it's interesting, but it's also very, what's the word I'm looking for? It can be uncomfortable at the same time. Like, to think that because I have such an idea in my head, then to hear somebody else's and how natural it is for them, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So I have tried to find it difficult to read it, but this is me at the moment. I am jumping through friggin' books, and the one that I'm nearly finished is Dr. Richard Shepard's. He's a forensic pathologist, a famous forensic pathologist, and I'm reading his second book, 7 Stages of Death. I'm up to adults now. I'm past children. So that's a good thing. That was hard. But I love that woman. I love her YouTube channel. I love her attitude. I love her look. So glad you brought that up.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I've got 2 of her books. I haven't had a chance to read them yet, but they are in my pile to read. I'm having a bit of a slump with reading at the minute as well.
Hard.
But yeah, I generally just have what like a lot of people have these days. I've got the morbid fascination, so I started watching her videos about what happens to a dead body during the funeral process and things like that. Once they go to the funeral home and things. How do they keep the eyes shut? How do they close the mouths? Things like that.
Caps.
Yeah.
I told my sister how they did the mouth, and she turned green.
Yeah.
Because she didn't realize that once you go, the only reason your face is up the way it is because the muscles in your cheeks, and when they go, your face droops. And I've never seen the color drain out of her face, and her constantly keep pulling her face up to like,
Oh.
But yeah, she made me rethink though what I want to happen to me after I die.
Isn't it a bit comforting when you hear her talking though?
I find her very soothing.
She brings it's comfort. Honestly, if you do have any fear of the unknown or just a little bit curious, she is probably the best stepping stone to kind of get that curiosity out. I loved her video on mother love though. I fucking loved it. I cannot stop shouting, I'm fucking Pele, even though I should. But yeah, I love Ashley. She's class. It's been a while though. She's been radio silent for a bit.
She's on sabbatical.
Any reason?
She just decided it was time to do some
work,
do some research.
I know she's got a big video coming out. She's got a big project video. But did you ever see her reacting to mortician work in movies? Oh, that was good. She did. So she watched the like My Girl. He's a mortician in My Girl, and she watched him in the embalming room. She was quite impressed. With it, apart from they didn't wear gloves. And she was all like, it's embalming fluid. Why would you not be wearing gloves? Oh, that's such a good shout. Did you do that on purpose? to bring the death talk out.
No, she is genuinely. I did have her on the list. Again, like I said, all of those people that I've just said there, I had a paragraph on each of them, and I was just kind of like, I don't know who to put in, who to pull out, because it changed every 5 minutes.
I feel like what you did though really does show who you are. Like, I don't know. Like it gives you it's you. Like everything you said, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. I wasn't gonna say that. But yeah,
for all your listeners, I am a natural ginger.
She got beautiful red hair. Like the red hair, like you can't buy that red hair.
Not at all, and I tried.
We've tried. You can't. It's stunning. But it does it. This is why I like the idea of just picking women who can, because they are you. Especially you, Becca. You down at Troy one.
Mm-hmm.
That got us.
Yeah.
That got us in the feels.
Sorry.
You will be. You will be. Do you want to tell everyone what we're doing next week?
Yes. Well, next month.
Oh God, yeah. Sorry.
Next month, because we are monthly. So, so this will be July. Because this goes up. Yeah, because this goes up. This will be July
on the 1st of June. So
yes, so it will be hopefully the first weekend of July, and we are going to be discussing ladies from video games, which is going to be very interesting because I haven't been a gamer for about 10 years now, so it's going to be one. It's going to be interesting, and we've got lots of different things planned for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's going to be like not just video game characters, but also the women who voice these characters as well.
She's going to get to talk about Jennifer Hale if it kills her.
Yes.
I have a few in mind, and Becca can back me up on at least one of them.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, look at you, it's getting all secret already. Oh my goodness.
You were involved in the conversation.
Was that?
I did mention this woman in the conversation between the three of us.
I'm sorry.
We've got no secrets. We're a trio. We are a trio here. We've got no secrets.
I'm looking forward to that. I am a gamer, but again, very male dominated gameplay. I do have a few females up my sleeve, but it would be interesting to have a conversation around. I like the idea of doing talking about female gamers as well, like actual gamers, because we're here. Hi.
Yeah.
We play video games too. So that'd be really cool. I like that. Yay. Do you want to tell everyone?
I'd like to come back to this when we're actually up on YouTube. I would like to see some of the women of nerd culture who have influenced the audience. Oh. So I would like people to comment below. Who's influenced you?
Pro, isn't she? Little pro. Right down there. Yeah. Get us in the comments.
Yeah. In the comments, come to the Facebook group, come to the Discord. Come to the Discord.
Yes.
Because that is where all the interesting creeps are. Honestly, if you are having a really lonely night and nothing's going on, get in our Discord, because honestly, you will not be disappointed. You will make friends for life in there. I certainly have. Looking right through them right now.
This is how this happened.
Yeah.
One comment
off the back of a comment.
Yeah. Isn't it great? It's crazy. It is crazy. It's mind blowing. It blows my mind that 3 years ago, I didn't know half the people who are in my life now. And now I can't live without them.
It blows my mind how close we live to each other and just kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like our little nerdy adventures out. The last one was brilliant. Sorry you weren't there, Sarah, but we had a fun time.
The comic books.
Yeah.
Comic book day.
Free comic book day.
That was
to be fair, though, you inspired me to order some comic books.
Really? What'd you get?
Recently they're currently doing a reprint of the original Labyrinth ones from the 80s, which tell the story of the movie.
Oh,
so I've got 1 and 2 of a set of 3, and the third one is out next month in June.
some. I still haven't read any of mine.
Neither have I.
Oh, that's okay.
But Tiny Human has read pretty much all hers, so I think that counts because she's been obsessed.
How amazing were the staff at Forbidden Planet with your Tiny Human?
I know.
I nearly cried of how amazing they were with her.
Yeah. Loved
it. Oh, I loved it. Right, so we're monthly.
Yes,
I keep remembering that. So this will go up on the 1st of June.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
It doesn't even matter if I tell you the time because you've already seen it. But the audio for this will be available on the following Tuesday after it comes out on YouTube.
The 4th of June.
Because I do them. So I can confirm that to you. Do you want me to fill in all the blanks?
Go on then.
Oh, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss any episode from the Nerdy Up North team. That's it. That's all I've got.
That's all you've got. that is more than enough. That is what we're here for. You are keeping us right while we learn the ropes.
I ain't no pro by any stretch.
You are the OG. You are Nerdy Up North, a first lady. I don't care what anyone says. I will die on that hill to defend that.
From what we hear, Sammie, you are the reason we have the podcast.
Yes.
Oh, that is very true, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for pointing it out.
And you were saying different things about inspiring. You inspire me to actually watch a lot of the monster movies because a lot of it I haven't actually seen. So yes. So
you are a horror fan too.
Yes.
I wasn't saying that in a disparaging way. I forget because Trek is such a big part of your life that I forget that.
So is that poster just behind you, the Dawn of the Dead one?
That one.
That one.
Yes, that's right.
Dawn of the Dead it's life to me. Outside of Star Trek, outside of Power Rangers and Doctor Who, zombie films are my forte.
They are the best. Well, have you got a sign off? Did you do it?
I did. I went with everyone keep your hearts full and your fandoms fierce and stay safe until next time.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
Oh, make me over. I'm all I wanna be. A walking study. A demonology. Hey, so glad you could make it. Yeah, now you really made it. Hey, so glad you can make it now. Oh, look at my face. My name is Mighty Babe.